So, Eliot, you rewatched the Eagles game. So you were critical of, I heard there was a bit of a debate between you and our resident Jalen derangement syndrome person, James Seltzer, on Go Birds.
In your podcast feed now.
Yes, in your podcast feed about the passing game and how big a deal it was. I know your sense right after the game and during the game and even coming from training camp was the passing game didn't look good. Upon rewatching it, do you have a different feeling about it? What did you think after you saw it again?
Yeah, so rewatching it, I think guys were open and Jalen wasn't throwing the ball to him. Like that's what I saw. Now, were guys wide open and it was like egregious misses? No, I don't think there was that. I think that, though, there were definitely times, and it felt like watching a game from last year, where AJ's going across the middle. Is he wide open? No. But if the ball comes out on time, quickly, I think you can get him the ball. And it looked like watching tape last year. So when I think about the passing game struggling through the first two games, because it did struggle in the first game as well, it wasn't just week 2. They have not been a good passing offense in the regular season and in training camp. Like, it's pretty clear to me.
The majority of last year.
Yes, and for stretches of last year, for sure, I would agree.
The majority of last year.
For stretches, I definitely think so.
Majority.
So, yeah. Well, here's what I was going to say, right? Me and you and Jack, we have debated, we are on different sides of the Jalen aisle to an extent, right?
Sure, yeah.
But as someone that is a Jalen defender and put him as the number 1 player in the city and has said he should be the number 2 quarterback, it is okay to say he's the main problem with the passing offense right now. He is the main problem. It does not mean he's not a great player. It does not mean that what he did last year doesn't mean anything. We can all be comfortable enough as people that think Jalen's a good quarterback to also say he's the biggest problem. Blaming Patullo is silly to me. Patullo is barely even a new offensive coordinator. Yes, the title is new, but he's been in the building for years. What do you think? He's coming in here and all of a sudden there's nobody open and it's a vanilla offense? That's not what's happening. They're running the same stuff they did last year. So the offense works when the players execute it. And while it's not all on Jalen, there was a play to begin the game where protection broke down, and if it didn't, I think AJ has a touchdown down the field.
The first play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting there and going, wow, what a great play by Patullo, great play by Jalen. It solves everything. But because the protection broke down on the left side, and when Jalen stepped up, he fumbled it, the play was not a successful play. So to me, it is very, very clear. When Jalen plays well, the Eagles are great. And when Jalen doesn't, it's on him. I said he was the most important player in the Eagles last year because for me, it's always the quarterback. So it would be hypocritical of me now all of a sudden to be well, actually, it's Patullo. It's not Patullo. The offense works. This is on Jalen and the players.
Yeah. Wow. I'm stunned. So
disarms you.
Yeah. So one of the things that you mentioned Patullo, because I was going to ask you, how much is Patullo here? How much is Sirianni? One thing I said on the show yesterday is the two constants of the last 3 years of our Nick and Jalen is a lot of the complaints right now is how vanilla and simple the offense is.
I think that's just something people say when it's not working.
But to go back, it is the same, to your point about the offense being the same. I went and I found a Bleeding Green Nation article from the Brian Johnson era, and it was, hey, the offense is too simple, it's too boring. Last year, Kellen Moore said there was stories, now it was working at the time, but it was Kellen Moore dumbed down his offense and, for lack of a better word, and made it more simple. And here we are, sort of in the same spot with 3 different offensive coordinators. And so I guess the question becomes, what is happening? What is Jalen doing? If you're saying that the issue at this point is Jalen, is he not? What is it, I guess?
So to me, the issue when the passing game is not working, whether it's the first 2 games of this year, stretches of last year, it's Jalen holding on to the ball too long. And I also think that's why he takes sacks. And you've talked about that.
Yeah.
And it's not holding it egregiously long. I think he is risk averse. He is risk averse because he doesn't want to turn the ball over. And I'm okay with that. Zach Berman tweeted out the stat. They're 36-2 when they win the turnover battle. And they're 12-14 when they don't. So we can all sit here and we all know winning the turnover battle is important. They win at a larger percentage than other teams when they don't turn it over. Now, the flip side of that is going to be, there's going to be days where they barely throw for any yards. Because if you're going to be double clutching and if you're going to be just a second late on an AJ pass, well, yeah, no one's open now because you held it. So I think that's just the flip side of the turnover thing.
This is going to, if this doesn't improve, this will be what is ultimately the cause of the season ending sooner than it should.
So that's where I'm not completely there yet. They have to pass it better than they have the first two games, without question.
But that's a low bar.
No, I know it is. They have to be, you got, way better.
In order, like, we're talking about championships. We're not talking about make the playoffs and go home or wow. This is a stacked team that's coming off winning the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They pretty much brought everyone back on offense. We're excited about the young players that they have on defense. You can even make the argument that the defense is further ahead in 2 games this year than they were last year.
I agree with that.
You can make that argument with this defense. I don't know if they'll finish as good as that defense finished ultimately, but that defense started off kind of sluggish last year, and they got their footing after week 5. The offense is the one thing that does not show progression. And it's the passing offense primarily. It's going to make it harder for the running game. If we don't have Saquon in that running offense last year, we're not winning the Super Bowl with the 29th ranked passing offense. Mm-hmm. So as great as it is not to turn the ball over and be risk adverse and this and that and the other, well, guess what? Those teams that play at a high level and they average 30 points and their quarterbacks in the MVP race, they turn the ball over sometimes. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that they aren't great players. Doesn't mean you don't want the ball in Josh Allen's hands late, in Lamar Jackson's hands late, right? When they get the ball late, you still fear them having the ball, Patrick Mahomes, right? Jalen is going to have to improve in the passing game if this team wants to repeat as champions. We can only go so long saying winning is the only thing that matters because we've done this before. We did this in 2023.
Yeah.
Right? And it ended terribly.
I vividly remember me and you being in there. And
beat the Chiefs in 2023, by the way. Yeah.
I was wrong. I was sitting there in 2023 saying they're winning. That's all that matters. Like, they could win in any year because they're a physical team. And to your credit, you were like, they're not playing well enough. And it fell apart. So as much as people want to lean on last year and they turned it around, and they did, to me, that's like saying the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Like, yeah, you can win with a backup quarterback. It can happen. But that's not the blueprint. That's not the best way to do it. And just super quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they have the same offensive coordinator. No, not same offensive coordinator. They have the same, like, coaching staff to a certain degree. They have 10 of 11 returning players. I can't hear all offseason that the benefit of Patullo is continuity and then be like, well, let's give it some time.
Right.
Like, the whole thing was supposed to be hit the ground running.
And that's where I stood. I stood with the continuity and keeping Patullo here, thinking it should make it easier to advance in this passing offense. Something isn't clicking in the first 2 weeks. I'm not smart enough. I wasn't on the offensive side of the football. All I can tell you is what I'm seeing from a upstairs sort of view of what's going on. But I'm smart enough to know that 140 yards pass and whatever it was in that first game and 100 yards this game was good enough for us to win because our defense played well enough and we got turnovers late in the game. But I'm also smart enough to know if we lose those games, we're looking directly at the passing game as a reason as to why we didn't win the game.
Well, and it's not one of those things. It's, I only saw the very end of the game, but I was watching the score, the Bills and the Jets, right? Mm-hmm. So Josh Allen had 135 yards passing. They were up 20 points in the second quarter of the game. Mm-hmm. That's not what the situation of these two games has been. No. This hasn't been one of those situations where they're up by so much, and that's why they bail off the passing game.
I mean, I just think the Patullo thing, like, if you want to say why his offense struggled, I think the best answer is they played Kansas City against Spagnuolo. Like, it's a tough spot.
Okay, sure.
Like it's just a tough spot, right?
Yeah.
But to do this whole Patullo thing, I'm not saying you two are. I'm just saying.
No, I know what you're saying. It's out there.
It's just Brian Johnson 2.0. We all did this in not all of us, but a lot of people did it in 2023 where it's Brian Johnson. The reality is Jalen turned the ball over in 2023 and he did not turn it over in 2024. Like, that was the difference between Brian Johnson and Kellen Moore. I'm not saying Kellen Moore didn't help with the blitz and there weren't separate things, but the Eagles' offense wasn't bad in 2023 because of Brian Johnson. It was bad or not even bad. It struggled at times because of turnovers. Like, that was the problem. What's surprising to me is the offense is struggling now without turning the ball over. Like, we very rarely see that. Like, when during the time of Jalen's as a starting quarterback, when they've been at their worst is when he turns the ball over. 2023 and the beginning of 2024. But these 2 games of passing, what is it, like 250 total yards? Yeah. That's lower than any 2-game total he had in 2021. And none of us look at 2021 and go, that was some prolific passing offense. So something's not clicking. Maybe it is the Chiefs, but since I got to watch training camp practices and, as a fan base, not everyone did, like this is what it looked like in camp. When you guys would come in and ask me, how does it look? This is how it looked. A lot of short passes, completions, but like nothing impressive.
And let me just make this clear as far as I think we're coming from here. And I know specifically I'm coming from here. We talk about this team, and you talk about them in different facets. You compartmentalize the different facets of the team: defense, special teams, offense, running game, run defense, pass defense, passing offense, kicking game. All that can be broken down. The team is 2-0. That's not a what am I looking? That's not a cleansing sort of formula that erases everything else that's going on with the team. So what most of us are talking about is the passing game.
Right.
And why the passing game is struggling. Why it's struggling. It's not about the team. The team is 2-0. The passing game has been less than average for over a year now.
Well,
and I know they won. And it's easy to hide behind the winning when that's the case. And you can ignore it. It's almost like just we see something wrong, but as long as we're good over here, we'll just ignore that over there. And I'm just saying eventually that's going to catch up to us. Eventually that's going to catch up to us. And I don't believe the Eagles, put it this way, you think the Eagles are sitting there saying, we're fine.
No.
We're good. Like, we're good. We're 2-0. We don't need to fix anything. We're good.
No, of course not.
They don't do a damn radio show, so they don't have to talk about it publicly. But you think they aren't having these same discussions behind closed doors? How do we fix this damn passing game?
Well,
yes, they are having these discussions. Of course they are.
For over a year,
They got $100 million over there in quarterback and receivers.
They want to be able to pass.
They want to be able to throw the damn ball.
The thing from a bigger offensive perspective, which makes me, I know you mentioned people are saying it's early. The reason that I'm a little more skeptical that it can just turn around because it's early is they do not have they don't have a thing in their pocket like they had last year, the adjustment that they made in terms of the focus of the offense.
Yeah.
They're there already.
Yeah, we're already running the ball. Yeah.
They're there already, and I think to a certain extent, I asked you what you think is wrong. I think to a certain extent, this is a league where the defensive coordinators obsess over how to stop the things that are beating them. It is a league of adjustments. And we were talking about this in the offseason. Can you do the same exact thing without new wrinkles? Can you? And I think to our eyes, you can even say it with Saquon. Saquon looks to your eye. Saquon looks like the same guy. Saquon is not having the same success he had last year. And part of it is because I think defensive coordinators are aware of when they will throw, when they won't throw, the risks that they're going to take. They will, and everything's harder. Everything when you're watching it, everything just seems so difficult.
Yeah. So two things. One, the way you know that there is concern about the passing game and not like the running game's not been great either. We don't hear anybody being like, "Oh, the Saquon's not going to turn it around." Like people believe in the. So if you want to do the it's early thing, the running game's a good example. None of us have brought up, are you concerned about the running game? Like, why? Because we all know they can run the ball at a high level. Now, it might be harder this year, but with the passing game, the reason I think that it's early doesn't count or you can't use it is because last year there were issues passing the ball. Now, they would in the big spots, he stood up.
He played well, yeah.
And I think that is worth noting, too. Like, if they played the Super Bowl in a week, do I think... Would I bet the over on Jalen 180 or 200 passing yards? Like, yeah, I think he's a big time player still. I still firmly believe that.
Sure.
But for 2 games, he's been the issue with the passing. Now, look, there's protection issues. Like
you think he's been the issue with the passing?
I believe from watching the 2 games multiple times, the problem is Jalen is holding onto the ball. That's what I believe. Now, you can go to certain plays, like the first play of the game, protection broke down. One play, now he caught it, but like AJ slipped, right? Like there are other players making mistakes. I'm not putting it all on Jalen, but for everyone that wants to put it all on Patullo or all on whoever, the majority is Jalen. When you are the quarterback and you're the most important player on the team, when the offense looks bad, that's on you. The offense is built around Jalen. Jalen helps put offensive plays in the playbook. I was the one that was so excited he put the dagger in the playbook, right? And like he picks the plays. He picks the plays pre-snap. The offense is built to his strengths and weaknesses. If it's vanilla, it's because of Jalen. So I don't think it is a super vanilla offense, but it is clearly Jalen.
Well, it's sort of a vanilla passing game.
Yeah. That part seems all right.